Good evening, everybody. I hope you have had a fantastic weekend and you got a lot of time to spend with family and friends. As I always say, it's really good for you. It's good for your physical health, it's good for your mental health, and it's good for your spiritual health. I'm here to talk to you tonight about a couple of things around the upcoming referendum. First of all, is what is my role as a municipal councillor in this? Second, how do I feel about some of these questions? First of all, I have been receiving emails and messages from people on both sides of this discussion and becoming more and more polarized, saying, I expect you to do X. I expect you to do Y. Okay, so I'm going to start with no, that's not how it's going to happen. I am here to represent the people of Red Deer thoughtfully and in a very open and curious, open-minded way. I'm not here to be somebody's megaphone or parrot. That just isn't how it's going to go. Now, since we established that, there are also people who are really, really trying hard to shut down the other side, not hear them, not even pretend to listen. We live in a society that has become so polarized that a difference of opinion is oftentimes treated as an attack, and it's not. A difference of an opinion is an opportunity to learn. You need to be able to sit down and ask why. Be curious. Find out what drives that person's mindset to make them want X or Y. I learned a long time ago from leadership and management that there's no point in going into a discussion where somebody has their mind made up and won't change it. So if somebody comes to you and says, no, I think it's all separation, or I think it's all stay in Canada forever, and you should do what I say or vote how I vote, whatever, there's probably not much point in having a conversation with those types of people because they're clearly not open-minded. Now, if you can get somebody who's open-minded and genuinely curious about your viewpoint and you be genuinely curious about their viewpoint, that's where the magic happens. That's where real ideas come out of. Because in this situation, people saying all X or all Y are missing the point. Each of those groups has something that's driving them to want whatever. The real answer is improve and adapt somewhere along the way. And I'll get to my perspective on the questions here. I'm not going to give you a question by question breakdown. You'd be bored out of your tree. I am going to just go into the first big question. First and foremost, it's not asking should Alberta separate. People also need to make sure that they keep that in check. It's asking should Alberta go down the legal process of creating a legally binding referendum on separation. And I think that, back to my statement just a few seconds ago about go in and be curious and find out what people think. People who are trying to shut down conversations, I don't understand that. We live in a society where your opinion matters. Your opinion can actually somewhat change policy, and that's very important, but it won't if we don't ask. So I guess sort of even before that first referendum question, I've heard a lot of people questioning the validity of a referendum. And I think that, yes, it's expensive. Democracy is expensive. That is how it works. And is it important that we ask? Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Do I think that the best bet is for Alberta to separate and split up the country? No, not at this point. But do I think Canada needs to do a lot better and distribute powers a lot better? Absolutely. We as a nation are still under the same system that was brought here when Canada was discovered, when Canada was colonized, I guess is probably a better way to put it. When we became subjects of the British Empire, and it's the very same system that was then. And we're trying to map out a modern world with demographics that are changing constantly, with ideas and values that are changing constantly, ideas and values that are different from region to region. Yeah, we could definitely figure out a way to do that a little bit better. And when you look at every major metric, socioeconomic metric, Canada has been slipping kind of steadily for the last 15 years, and I would even posit the last 50 years. We really have come to a point where we're complacent. And I think that, we have a relatively fireproof house. We have had good economic conditions overall. We have a very strong economic neighbor. That relationship has changed, and hopefully people have woken up that we need to be more self-sufficient, but we really didn't work hard at it and make Canada self-sufficient. So that's my take on it. Do I think that the referendum needs to happen? Well, A, it doesn't matter because it is happening, but B, yeah, sure. I like to find out what people want. I like to find out what people think. And I won't entertain the idea of I had one email where somebody said, the questions are very complex and I don't think the average Albertan can understand them. No, of course they can. Yeah, they're complex because they're important. We have conversations, we do research, we talk to people, we genuinely find out from people who perhaps have a little more knowledge in one of those areas. How does this work? How does that work? What do you think? What do you think? Good conversations. And I can't circle back to that enough. Polarized, one side or the other, all or none, doesn't work. And it does not move a society forward, I promise you. So, back to the point again. The rest of the questions, there's some of them that I think are great. There's some of them that I probably wouldn't have included, but again, doesn't matter. I'm a municipal representative. I'm not federal, and I'm certainly not provincial. So I'm in the same boat you are. I'm going in there, I'm going in armed with my research and my discussions with people who have been gracious enough to have terrific conversations with me. And I'm voting. And out of the questions, 10 questions, like I said, some of them are going to be yes, some of them are going to be no. I like the idea of asking people what they think and what they want. So, quick wrap up. Municipal representatives are not, well, honestly, we're not influencing this one way or the other. I've heard people say, oh, well, this town, their whole group said they're A, and this town, their whole group said B. It's not going to influence it. It's pointless. It's just political posturing. And if what you want to see is political posturing, by all means, go ahead, support that. Tell everybody, yeah, I like the way this town went. Okay, that's political posturing. It's not informed discussions, curious, and really trying to find a better way, a better solution that isn't all or none. And that's my stance. So, again, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you have a terrific week ahead. And I look forward to seeing people, and I look forward to continued respectful conversations. Thanks very much, everybody.